Hello, ladies. I wanted to get on here at 4:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and my phone is not wanting to cooperate. Okay, I hope it stays and it doesn't fall. Again, this is Leah Love, and I am so happy to be here. I am the admin of this page, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. It's been a little bit busy for me over the past several months because I have been in the process of being heavily pursued, courted, and then engaged, and then married. And so we had our wedding this spring, and then we had the honeymoon and the move and just kind of getting ourselves situated here. So I was just getting myself ready. I'm waiting for my husband to come home, and then we're going to go and work out together as a family. So I'm super excited. So that explains why I'm in the bathroom, and also why, I got a do-rag on my head. So at any rate, I just wanted to come in and again, thank you all for being in here. And I want to encourage each and every woman, because I haven't yet had a chance to have an exchange or a level of conversation with each of you in here. However, I do want to share with you that whatever stage you are in, whether you are actually single, whether you are currently dating, whether you are being courted, whether you are engaged, or whether you're already married. As you know, this group is the Single Life to Fabulous Wife, so it covers absolutely all of the aspects of this process. And this group does give a special shout out and a special love to the single women, as well as to the single mothers, is really what I wanted to say, as well as the divorced mothers. And because, we're a special demographic that seems to sometimes get hit the hardest in terms of judgment. And myself having been a divorced mother, a single mother for some time, I truly know the struggle. And even on the dating and online apps that I was using, once I took the time to heal and then got myself into a space where I was ready to actually date, I did receive quite a bit of negative feedback on these dating apps as soon as I was asked if I have children. And that was hurtful in a way, because I felt like I was being punished, whereas so many of these men who were even in their 40s were pretending that they did not have children. And so it was as if the burden of proof was on the woman when she's asked by these men if they have children. And, many of them, even though we had a great rapport and conversation very briefly while on the dating app, it would quickly all come to an end when they were like, you know what, I'm sorry, I can't do this because I've already dated women with children. It didn't turn out well. It was very, very negative. And so, I'm just not ready to go back down that route again and get close to the kids, and then it doesn't work out, blah, blah, blah. And so that's why I, having walked through that, that's why I do have a special place in my heart for the women who are single mothers who are out here dating with purpose and have finally decided to give it another chance and really choose well and marry well. And marry for good. That is all of our hopes and dreams. At least that is the premise of this group. And so myself being a single mother, a divorced mother, and had 4 children. 2 are grown, and then 2 were younger from my second marriage. And, it would appear that even as a grandmother that I am, that, it was a done deal for me, that it was a wrap. And I'm here to say that it's absolutely not a done deal. It's absolutely not a wrap, but it all depends on you. It all depends on your level of self-healing and your level of self-care, and the idea that, you are the prize. And that is truly and deeply a state of being that takes some time to walk into. Yes, they are. Hi, Chris. Yes, they absolutely are. Because I was like, literally every man that I was talking to on these dating apps was talking about, that he did not have children. And I'm like, there's absolutely no way that you can be in your mid-40s and you've not had any children, baby mamas, or whatever is out there. But it was, it was so easy for them to pretend. It's so easy because they're not the primary custodial parent, and so they can pretend all they want. Whereas you, as a woman, have a very unique and special situation. And so, exactly, Chris, getting yourself to the level of valuing yourself, that is a long, hard journey. And I did not learn that until, I got to about 43, 44, that I was really earnestly walking my way into self-love. But I want to share with you all the fact of knowing that you are the prize and knowing what you want. I cannot stress it enough. In the wild, wild west of the online dating experience, if you have not taken the time to determine what it is that you want, to determine the traits in a man that you want, and to determine the type of relationship that you want, and to see yourself 5, 10, 15 years from now, it is really a dead-end road, because everything that we are feeling within ourselves and our level of and our sense of our self-worth will truly determine the way in which we react to the world, as well as the choices we make. And it allows us to either, set our bar really high or set our bar really low. And I've noticed, even with my clients, even in my other private group, the online exclusive dating group package that I have, and the women that are in there, and the discussions we've had through the courses that they're taking in that private group, that, the main impediment for so many is simply not being accustomed to knowing what exactly they want. And that comes from not knowing exactly who they are, or not feeling comfortable with claiming exactly what they want in this life, not feeling comfortable with being able to sit yourself in the middle of the sun and say, this is who I am, this is what I want, and I am actively working towards the best version of myself. And so, as I spent many years studying myself, as I spent many years healing, as I spent many years deciding to take a certain path, and then following through, becoming obsessed with self-help, self-care, self-improvement, obsessed with leveling up. That's why I even, started the Level Up Charm School last year, and that's another group. But there is a process by which we arrive at the gates of ourselves. There's a process by which we come to an intimate knowledge of our best selves, our greatest feminine representation of who we are. And it just leads us down this really beautiful path that's filled with synchronicity, that's filled with insight. When we are ready, as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I found that trusting that path was most important for me, because the more that I committed to that path, the more that I began to experience the small wins. And when you're experiencing the small wins, you develop a level of self-confidence in yourself, and you begin to realize that the actions that you are taking as you are going along this path are indeed affecting the outcomes in your 3D life. So in other words, when you're thinking negatively about yourself, when you're thinking negatively about others, when you are feeling limited, generally speaking, you get more of that limited sensation. And you experience more disenchantment with your life. But the more you decide that you are the owner of your life, you have to take responsibility for the choices you've made, even when you didn't know better. But there was something in you that was making those choices, and understanding that that came from a particular place. That came from a place that that was the best you could do at this time. And I want to encourage you all, ladies, that, this is a zone of no self-judgment. This is a zone of heightened self-love. Because what I want to encourage you all to really kind of wrap your mind around is that you can only attract at the level at which you deserve, you feel that you deserve. You can only attract at the level at which you yourself are. And it's a hard and bitter pill to swallow, but at the same time, it brings a level of self-confidence to understand that even when you were making the worst decisions, you were still in control. You were not at the mercy of the world, but you were simply acting upon what was your most predominant thought about yourself and what you felt you were worth and what you felt that you wanted to settle for. I certainly did it. I made a series of very bad decisions and had two horrible 10-year relationships from the point when I was 19 or 20, and I stayed in those two 10-year relationships back to back until I was 40, and I walked away and said, I'm done. And in doing that, that started the process, a 7-year process, an unending process of healing, self-love, self-acceptance, and also forgiveness of self. And that brings me to a point that, I really want to share with you all in your journey from the single life to fabulous wife is that, hi, how are you? Is that the issue of self-forgiveness for the mistakes we feel that we have made in our past. I have seen so many women and had so many discussions with my personal clients who are wanting to achieve goals and achieve marriage in their life, but they are stuck in a state of shame. They're stuck in a state of not being able to forgive themselves. Now that they know what they know, they feel very bad about the choices. Perhaps even they feel bad towards their children, for the life that they gave their children with the wrong mate. There are so many reasons and ways in which we can feel shame, but lack of forgiveness of self is yet another impediment to your getting yourself into a state of mind where you can truly attract your best. And so I went through that myself. I went through a tough time with that a few years back. And then I had to realize that, okay, even though I wish things were different, even though I wish I had been able to give my children a different life, just in terms of having a happy home to live in, seeing me at my best rather than depressed or angry or whatever I was going through with my ex-husband. But I wish I had been able to give them a better and happier life and a better example for how to have a healthy relationship. But at the end of the day, I had to learn self-forgiveness and realizing that was all a part of my journey. And whether I like it or not, I called that experience to myself. Nobody, handcuffed me and dragged me along into these relationships. I walked into them. And there has to be some jewels and some wisdom there. Otherwise, I would not have chosen that. And my higher self would not have chosen those experiences for me. And I see now that I learned so much from them because it brought me to who I am today. Because I was able to walk myself through the shame and forgiveness therapy that I needed. And I realize that even if you aren't able to get rid of the past, your past, whatever it is that, you're not especially proud of or the choices that you made, one thing that's really, really empowering, and I'm here to share with you all, is that regardless of the age of your children, it's never too late as long as you're breathing to make better decisions and to create a healthy environment for yourself and your family. And one of the things that was so endearing for me during my wedding this spring is that my oldest child, who is going to be 25 in July, she took the mic during our reception and she shared the fact that she really gained a lot from watching my own transformation in my life and from watching me make better choices in terms of better mates, for setting my standards higher and for getting myself into a place where I was able to choose better. And she said that, in front of all of these people at the reception that, now she knows based on the, man that I chose to marry, that she is setting the bar in her life based on him, in the way in which he has taken her on as his daughter and calls to check in on her. And, he's really the true father figure that she was not able to have growing up. And that was really, really gratifying for me, because even when, she would joke with me, but she thought I was rather crazy at, my mid-30s, 45, 46, out here in the dating world. She'd joke at me, getting myself ready, going on these dates, dressing up and whatnot. but it proved to be quite beneficial in the sense that through that process, I learned how to date. I learned how to love myself. I learned through coaching, through the laws of the Enchantress program, I learned how to heal some parts of myself that though I had leveled up, though I had learned to present myself better, though I had greater expectations for myself, but there are certain parts of myself that I hadn't yet healed that I didn't really realize I was still struggling with, including the concept that there are actually good men out there. And so it's so funny how so many of us are out here dating, but we don't really fully believe that there are really good men out here. And we haven't actually outlined exactly the traits that we want and what it is that we feel that we are worthy of. But once I got that down and solidified the process for how to properly write a bio, how to properly present the bio and pair it with the right photos in order to cut out 80% of the riffraff that are on these sites who are just looking for a hookup. Once I perfected that, it was such a pleasurable experience. I was meeting, in terms of just interacting with on the apps, men from all over the world, and it was a really enlightening experience. But sure enough, by the time that I got on the final site that I was on, I met my husband within 3 days, and he courted me heavily, and we were engaged within 5 months, and we were married 4 months later. So that was literally a 9-month period from which the point that I met him, and being on that site and having set myself up well in terms of having a proper bio and knowing exactly what I want, and then knowing how to express that to the potential suitors during the exchanges on these sites, how to properly express myself in text messages and what not to accept and how not to waste my time. Within 3 days, I met him. Within that next week, even though he lived in a different state, we were meeting, and the rest is history, and we are now married. And on top of that, because I had set my bar and decided what it is that I wanted, I was able to get exactly what I wanted. It's by knowing exactly what you want. And I knew I wasn't wanting a 50-50 relationship. I wasn't going to be out here on these dating sites fearful of saying that I wanted to get married. It was in my bio. And this was actually a dating site for those who are actually seeking marriage. And then also, I knew that I did not want to work anymore because I do homeschool my younger set of children. And so he had to have the means and the wherewithal to support us. He had to be a family man. And so I was, able to meet a very wonderful man, a physician and a medical director, and a family man, a very family-oriented man. And everything he did every step of the way during that courtship, to get us down the aisle was absolutely exquisite and wonderful. Yes, I gave birth to the marriage through my internal work and through my imagination. But the thing that's most important now that I really want to share with you guys is the fact that, it's not only about getting through the dating process and getting yourself to the actual wedding, but it's actually understanding that everything you're doing right now in your single life is preparing you for your married life. In other words, you're not going to go through the courtship and, present all of these feminine aspects of yourself, get through the wedding and the honeymoon. Now you got to actually deal with this person who you say you love and who you've said you wanted to do X, Y, and Z with. And then it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or whatever it is, Hyde and Jekyll. You don't want to get into that state. So you've got to be authentic about this. And that's part and parcel while I created this group, but also the various coaching sessions that I have, as well as the online dating app package that walks you through several steps. But I want to share with you all that it is 80% mental. I still have some women, and some who are even in my, private group for the exclusive dating master classes that are in there, that are not realizing that it's 80% mental. And that's why I spent a lot of time in that class discussing the mentalism of it all. Because if it's not mental for you, if it's not something that you have set forth as being truly energy based, and it's all about not who you say you are, but who you present yourself as in a natural state. That's what will win him over, and that's what will attract the person who is the one that you say that you want. And so that's why people are saying, what do I have to do? Well, do I have to dress this way? What do I have to say? How do I present myself? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, some of those things are really, really important. But what's most important, first and foremost, is setting and solidifying within your mind and within your own personal creative power. Who are you? What is it that you want? And what is it that you feel you deserve? And if you feel that you are the prize and you know within yourself that you have the solidity to back it up, that speaks for itself, and that informs pretty much everything you do, from the writing of your bio to your photos to the way in which you present yourself on your first dates to the way in which you enjoy yourself, which allows others to enjoy you. It is an entire package. And that's really what I want to get into with this exclusive dating package. It's $299. It is a series of 8 classes as well as impromptu lives. I help you write your bio. I help you choose your photos. But first we work on the mind and the sense of self-love and self-care. And if you can grasp that, everything else that comes after that is a piece of cake. Yes, divine from within, love and live it. Absolutely. And once you grasp that, yes, you could use, additional tips and pointers, but the vast majority of the route is already there. But it's when people are jumping into the pot, so to speak, but they haven't even covered that part of that, the very most important ingredients, which is that self-love, which is that believing in self and that creative source and power. Everything else you do thereafter, if you haven't covered that, is for naught. That's how I feel about it. But, I'm here to share with you that first and foremost, you have to understand the mentalism of it all. And so we're going to continue to work through that. And by all means, if you are interested in the online exclusive dating package, I do have the link for that in the announcements at the top of the page. It's pinned to the top. And it's well worth investing in yourself because, again, when you show the universe that you are here for it, that you're investing in yourself, the doors open wide for you and you walk right in with confidence. So, again, this is Leah Love, and I will talk to you soon. We're about to go work out, and I'm going to keep working on these body goals too. So I will see you later.